Listen, what's the rejection then? It's not the rejection of your looks, but by the way, it is your looks, but because your looks represent something. If you go up to a girl and you ask her out, the reason it's so terrifying is because whatever answer she gives you is an answer that's either saying, yes, you're worthy of having your genes passed down the line, or I'm looking at you, your genes are not worthy of being passed down the line. Your genetic line should end here. What do you think that the myth of Medusa is about? It's about walking up to someone and being so terrified of staring at them in the face that you become immediately petrified. You're turned to stone because you're just frozen because of the existential terror of your genetic line passing off into eternity and never going forward. Because once that happens, you die. Everything about you dies. Yes, 100%. If a guy walks up and he asks you out and you reject him, understand that's the message you're sending. No, your genetic line is not. Well, it's because, I don't know, I'm looking for someone, isn't that what you want to pass on into the, because these things represent something. But, intelligence, why? Because your number one predictor of your success and your ability in life is connected to your intelligence. If a person is smart, they will figure things out. If you have problems in life, that person is going to figure things out. That makes you feel safe. If you're walking down the street and somebody puts a gun in your face and they're going to rob you, that person makes you feel safe. If you both lose your jobs and your mortgage is at stake, that person also makes you feel safe. They're a protector by nature. You know that you're safe and protected by that person. You take those ancient instincts and you apply them to modern sensibilities, and it all carries over. Why funny? Because you have to have a level of confidence to be funny. What's so funny? Everything. If you look at it the right way. The person who can laugh at things, that's a person who exudes confidence. If you're confident, that means that you can handle the curveballs that life throws at you. You're a clown ninja. No, it takes an intelligence and a sense of protection to even say, I may have to give my life for this. There's no greater love that a person has but that they give their life for their friends. And there's no greater love that a person can have but that they would give their life for the people who they love. And there's no greater bravery or selflessness that a person would have but they would give their life for strangers even. This is why I say that one of the most dangerous things in the world is useless men. Because useless men find something eventually to do with their time, but they look for a meaning, they look for a purpose, and sometimes you find it in the worst parts of the internet, darkest recesses of the internet. You find it in Andrew Tate videos or something like that. You don't know any other way. And if you think that strong men are dangerous, wait till you see what weak men are capable of. Tell me if this sounds familiar. Happiness can't be pursued. Happiness has to ensue. It has to come from what you're doing. Because the things that make you happy are always changing. Your favorite song today is not going to be your favorite song a year from now. And it's probably not the same favorite song that you had 5 years ago. These things are always changing. And so you can find your favorite song today and indulge in it today, but you don't know if that's going to make you happy. So you don't know that that's going to be your favorite song a year from now. So what can you do? Enjoy it while it's your favorite song. Understand that it's going to change. If you're pursuing happiness, the things that make you happy are going to change. So you can't pursue them. It has to come from something that you're doing. Love is kind of like this as well. And in the same way that Franco says that you can't command a person to laugh, you have to give them a reason to laugh. He does, in passing, say you can't command a person to love. You have to, it's something that happens actually involuntarily. And even laughter is like this. Like last weekend, I was in a car with 3 friends, and the guy driving had just gotten done telling me earlier in the day that he had cancer and that he had beaten it and it came back. And so while we were driving, the 4 of us were talking, and everybody in the car now knew that this guy had cancer, but he didn't tell. He told me, but the other 2 guys already knew before that, but he told me just because he's actually a friend of theirs. So I was talking about the idea of laughter. And I said, sometimes you're going to laugh at stuff, and I paused and I said, for example, and you've heard me tell the joke before, how do you get gum out of a kid's hair? Cancer. I told that joke, and it was just like dead quiet. And I was like sitting there looking at them, and I said, you guys want to laugh, because I know them. I go, you guys are trying to, I go, you guys want to laugh, but you guys are also thinking right now, uh-oh, George has cancer right now. I wonder if Scanlon knows that George has cancer. And George starts laughing. And he goes, and he sounds like Danny DeVito. He's like, oh, that shit was funny. And then like, as soon as that happens, they both bust out into laughter. And I said, here's the funny thing. You guys had to fight the laughter. As wrong as you thought it was, later on today, when you guys were away from George, you'd have been laughing at that. And part of the humor also would have been, I wonder if Scanlon even knew that he had cancer, because they thought I was telling a joke and I didn't realize that the guy didn't have cancer. I hadn't even joked with the guy yet, but from what I know about him, I thought he would probably find that to be funny as well. So sometimes you're going to laugh at something, you have to have a reason to laugh, and sometimes you're going to laugh at things that you don't even want to laugh at. Sometimes you're going to fall in love even when you don't want to, even when everything in the world says it's that it's the wrong person or the wrong timing or the wrong whatever it is. And so, how is it that you become worthy of it? This is why sometimes love comes out of nowhere with you, because when, like, you guys are right, when you're searching for it, yeah, you become desperate, and there's a reason for that. It means something. It tells us something. You know? I was talking last period. Do you guys know who Neil deGrasse Tyson is? Whenever deGrasse Tyson wants to put down some idea, he reduces it to its constituents. So in other words, I heard him talking about kissing, and he said, and if you think about it, kissing, all that you're really doing there is you're just exchanging saliva with another human being. Is that all you're doing? No. Because are you doing that? Yeah. But nobody sits there like, let's exchange saliva. Because if that was your thinking, you would just spit in each other's faces. I understand there's a market for everything, but I'm saying for most people, that's not what you're thinking about when you do that. But no, it's more than that. Why? Because it means something. Everything means something. Everything means something. So if you're thinking about how it is that you could possibly be worthy of love. I was in, I don't know if you noticed this yesterday. I was in your classroom yesterday, and you asked that question: what is it that attracts girls to guys? So girls, like, what is it that makes guys attractive to you? I don't know if you noticed this, but guys start answering.
I couldn't hear anybody just repeat.
I thought that was funny. Like, what's that?
Guys are into guys.
It must be, because the guys start answering. It's like, this is your time to sit back and take notes.
Right.
You ask that question. So ask the question for girls. What's something that you find attractive in a guy? Yes. Intelligence. Well, I'm gonna be funny. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, this is the thing. Like, if it's all about respect and all these, okay, this is what I say this is what I mean when I say the audience is bullshit. We've talked about spaghetti sauce. I told you about spaghetti sauce?
No. I heard it.
All right, Bob Moskowitz. You guys know who he is?
Who?
Bob Moskowitz.
No.
No? Oh my goodness. You don't know who that is? Well, let me tell you. He was hired in the 80s by the Prego spaghetti sauce company, because at the time, Ragu owned, it was like over 80% of the market for marinara sauce, spaghetti sauce. So he was hired by the Prego company to essentially to challenge the Ragu company for spaghetti sauce dominance. So he held a focus group where he brought people together and asked them, what kind of spaghetti sauce do you like? And people told him what kind of spaghetti sauces they liked. So he went back to his lab, created the perfect spaghetti sauce based off of what the people said they wanted. Makes sense. So then they had a taste test, and of course, Prego won the taste test. No, they didn't. Ragu still won. So then he asked people again, well, so what didn't you like? What did you like? Went back to the lab, created a new one, new panel, asked the people everything, and then they had the taste test, and of course, Ragu won again. I want to say it was like 13 or 16 times he did this. He kept trying to make the perfect spaghetti sauce based off of what people said they wanted. And finally, he just said, fuck it. He probably said those exact words. And then he made a spaghetti sauce that's completely different from Ragu. Ragu, if you've had it before, it's just like a thin marinara sauce. He made it like Prego, which is just like sauce, yeah, but then he just threw like a bunch of shit in there. Onions, vegetables, mushrooms, just chopped up a bunch of shit and goes, there's your, threw some meat in there and goes, there's your spaghetti sauce. Surprise, surprise, they had the taste test. It won. He did the complete opposite of what people said that they wanted. And so that tells you something. It tells you that the audience is bullshit. The audience doesn't know what it wants. If I asked you, what kind of coffee do you like? Oh, I like bold, rich flavors, strong caffeine. Do you like soft, milky cream water? No, that's disgusting. Yeah, and we all agree we don't want to drink soft, milky cream water, right?
I think that.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what Starbucks is. They're just like, yeah, the coffee's there. Oh yeah, ethically cultivated, blah, blah. But here's the thing: try some of our creamer, try some of our sweeteners. That's the stuff that people love. If you ask people, do you want that kind of thing? They're like, no, that's disgusting. But they buy it by the billions, and it's one of the most profitable companies in the world. Why? Because they didn't give the audience what they wanted. They came along, created a product, and then they told the audience, hey, this is what you want. And the audience tried it, and they were like, oh, it's good. We like this. The audience is bullshit. So if you're a writer, be careful about what criticism that you take. Be careful who you listen to, because largely the audience is bullshit. If you like what you're doing, there's a really good chance that other people are too. There's 8 billion people on the planet. And so if you can impress yourself, if you like what it is that you're doing, there's a really good chance other people are. If you're in a band, and if you can really listen to your band and say, I like this stuff, we're making some good stuff here, and like genuinely, you really like it, then you're gonna, the only thing that really stops you from making it is an inability to get in front of the right audience. That's it. If you can put yourself in front of the right audience, you're going to make it. If you're making a pizza that you say this is a great pizza, then you need to get your pizza in front of the right people. The only thing that stops you in business is that, being able to get in front of the audience. Because the audience is bullshit. Don't ask them what they want. Tell them what you're making. And if you really like it, people will show up for it. So when I say that the audience is bullshit, that's what I mean. So what kind of a guy do you want? I want a guy who's respectful, who's kind. Yeah. And that's why that's why you like the bad boys, right? Well, why the bad boys? Why? Because it means something. What's that?
You're the opposite.
Yeah. So why that? It means something. What does it mean? What does the bad boy represent?
Fun.
Rebellion? Fun?
And the opposite, well, you know, you should be doing what you want to do.
Yeah. But the opposite, the thing that you are told you shouldn't want. But here's the thing: there's an element of the bad boy. What does the bad boy do that makes him so bad?
I feel like it just humanizes us more.
You don't want a human, you want a god.
No.
So does the bad boy stand there and say, I'm very respectful, No. What happens if you're with the bad boy, and what happens if you're with the respectful person, and somebody walks by and checks you out? What does the respectful guy do? Walk away. What does the bad boy do? Punches them in the goddamn face before they even know they're in a fight. So what does the bad boy provide and represent? Protection. So what you're looking for is a clown ninja.
Yes.
Someone who's very smart, funny, and is capable of protecting you. I have another word for that, by the way.
Start with E.
It's an I.
Unicorn.
Unicorn. Do you know anybody who's like that? Who's smart, funny, and will kick the shit out of people? Yeah?
No.
But here's the thing.
They're always missing one.
Yeah.
It's always the funny.
Yeah.
No, it's always the intelligent part. But they're missing.
Bueno, bonito, y bracho, brato, which is it? You can have two, but you can't have all three. This is rare, man. That's why when you come across people like this, it's like they stand out. It's like, wait a second, are you funny or are you a protector? Yes. I don't know, man. You can't be funny and that. It's like, can you be an artist and also be an ass kicker? People have been all throughout history. Michelangelo, they called him the Beast of Venice, the Beast of Florence, because the guy would walk around and storm around while carrying his stuff. And if you said to him, "Hey, Michelangelo, you have paint in your beard," he'd drop his shit and start swinging at you. You know, I mean, Caravaggio, my favorite painter, created beautiful paintings. He dies in a bar fight. You know, because that's the thing. Artists were hellraisers up until the 20th century. Now we think of artists. I just feel so many things. If you felt so many things, you wouldn't stand like this. You'd be out there doing things because you feel so much that you have to express it. You have to experience things. We think of the tortured artist. Yes, the artist is tortured. Steinbeck went all over the world and went on all kinds of adventures, and then blows his own head off with a shotgun. He was tortured, of course, but he was also an artist because he felt so much that he had to go out and experience all of the variances of life. Because what can you write about unless you know it? You can't write about a character you don't know about. You can't write about a person that you don't know about. You can't write about the whole gamut of human emotions and thoughts unless you experience them. And so it almost has to go along with it. And you can't go out into the world like this, because then you can't experience life. You can be an introvert, but you have to act like an extrovert so that you can encounter life as it is. And that's part of the sensitivity, to accept life, to encounter life as it is. And then have the strength to be able to endure it as it is. And then come back and tell everybody about it as it is. You were going to say that. And there's a difference, you have to recognize the difference between being controlling and being protective. Being controlling even and being territorial. It makes no sense. Someone stares at your boyfriend or your girlfriend and you get mad at them for existing. Why would someone stare at your boyfriend or your girlfriend? Because they're attractive. Isn't that why you stare at them in the first place? You want them to all of a sudden go, oh, I'm so glad that we're together now. Make themselves ugly? Is that what you're looking for? Of course not. And to get mad at the other person, I mean, there's that gradation of disrespect, of course. And you don't want that to happen. And tell me if that sounds familiar. This whole idea that every virtue is a midpoint between vices on opposite extremes. You don't want to be so much that you're controlling, and you're not like you own the person. You also don't want to be sitting in the chair, but you want to be somewhere kind of in the middle where you're protective, and you have the ability to protect. And by the way, that's why this is all a test. If you're sitting there and you're like, I have this crush and I want to ask my crush out, but you're afraid to. Why are you afraid to ask the crush out? It means more than that. You're right. But it means more than that. It represents more than that. Because what does them saying no mean? What does it represent? Rejection, but what are they rejecting?
Your looks, how you are.
Get deeper. It means something even deeper than that.
They're rejecting.
Because what's the point of two people coming together? What's that? Deeper.
So yeah, two is part of it.
300,000 years of human history.
Oh,
It's a biological thing to procreate. Yeah, not even to fuck, to procreate.
Oh, yeah.
To make more of ourselves. Now, oh, I'm sorry. No, the point of us to come together is just so we can be happy. No, what makes what makes you happy? Like, but that's why when we say like, if you're not happy, you should, because so that matters. Because what's the rejection then? Listen, what's the rejection then? It's not the rejection of your looks, but by the way, it is your looks, but because your looks represent something. There's something about your looks where you're not quite symmetrical, which means that you're not genetically the best that can be found. If you go up to a girl and you ask her out, the reason it's so terrifying is because whatever answer she gives you is an answer that's either saying, yes, you're worthy of having your genes passed down the line, or I'm looking at you. Your genes are not worthy of being passed down the line. Your genetic line should end here. Yeah. Now, here's what's it's not happening at a conscious level. That's the unconscious thing that's happening. What do you think that the myth of Medusa is about? It's about walking up to someone and being so terrified of staring at them in the face that you become immediately petrified. You're turned to stone because you're just frozen because of the existential terror of your genetic line passing off into eternity and never going forward. Because once that happens, you die. Everything about you dies. Yes, 100%. You've never, and I think if we just look at it on the superficial level, and it makes sense to, Because that if we look at the real level that it operates, it's terrifying. Isn't that why we call, like when someone dies, oh, they've gone to a better place. They passed away. They died. No, they kicked the bucket. They died. No, they've done it.
Is that a hanging one?
Because we don't want to call it what it is a lot of times, because the reality of it is so terrifying. And so, if a guy walks up and he asks you out and you reject him, understand that's the message you're sending. No, your genetic line is not. Well, it's because I don't know. I'm looking for someone. Yeah, isn't that what you want to pass on into the? Because these things represent something. Intelligence. Why? Because your number one predictor of your success and your ability in life is connected to your intelligence. If a person is smart, they will figure things out. If you have problems in life, that person is going to figure things out. That makes you feel safe. If a lion jumps out at you from behind some bushes, that person's going to not run. If they make you feel safe, you know you can rely on them. If you're walking down the street and somebody puts a gun in your face and they're going to rob you, that person makes you feel safe. If you both lose your jobs and your mortgage is at stake, that person also makes you feel safe. They're a protector by nature. You know that you're safe and protected by that person. You take those ancient instincts and you apply them to modern sensibilities, and it all carries over. Why funny? Because you have to have a level of confidence to be funny. What's so funny? Everything. If you look at it the right way. Why? Is death funny? Yeah. Why? Because you have the confidence to face it. And if you have the confidence to face things, you realize that you can have so much confidence that something becomes funny. You don't want somebody who's so funny over here that now they don't take anything seriously in life, and that's why, that's why he can't keep a job. That's why he can't move forward in life. That's why he can't progress in his career. You don't want someone who takes things so unseriously, but you also don't want the person who sits there and you tell them a joke and they're like, that's funny. Because that person's same thing. They're not fun to be around. They're not interesting to be around. Because what is it what is one of the hallmarks of children? Yeah, but even more than that, they're funny. They're little jesters running around who do the weirdest things. They're even funny when they sneeze. Do you want to suppress that in a kid, or do you want to be able to take the time to enjoy that kid? Well, that's one of the reasons that a person being funny is going to appeal to us at a biological level. Because that's a person who tells you they can enjoy things of life. So what's the point of being safe and protected if you can't enjoy it as well and have it be funny? Because a person who can laugh at things, that's a person who exudes confidence. If you're confident, that means that you can handle the curveballs that life throws at you. You're a clown ninja. That's why these things appeal to us. Nothing is just anything. And when you're trying to figure out why you are the way that you are, that's why you have to go into the unconscious. And of course, the only way to do that is to reason it out, try to figure it out. And of course, every vice, as you're saying, has that extreme. Somebody who has too much of a sense of humor such that they can't keep a job. They don't take anything seriously. The person who is so protective that they're actually controlling. They become a tyrant. And so now you can't even walk down the street without it becoming a fight. But you also don't want the person who, as I saw a video a few years ago, this man and woman, I think it was in England if I'm not mistaken, and they're walking out, it's all in surveillance. These 5 guys surround them, and the guy recognizes what's happening and he kind of walks away. And they attack the girl and they punch her in the face. And they attack her, and then he comes back oh, try to stop. And he's actually a really big dude. And they punch him and he kind of runs away. And the whole while, the girl's trying to defend herself, and this guy's everybody calm down, trying to calm everyone down. Do you think you're going to calm down this crowd? No, it takes an intelligence and a sense of protection to even say, I may have to give my life for this. I may have to give my life for this. There's no greater love that a person has but that they give their life for their friends. And there's no greater love that a person can have but that they would give their life for the people who they love. And there's no greater bravery or selflessness that a person would have but that they would give their life for strangers even, people they don't know. But then again, you don't want to go putting your life in danger every single time, because that probably indicates that you don't have much to live for. Something that a movie I once saw really struck me, man. It's an old movie called First Night. And there's a line in that movie where it's about King Arthur, and he says to somebody, he's talking to one of his knights, and Sean Connery, and he says to the knight something to the effect of, the way you move, you do not fear death. You fear nothing. And he says, I fear nothing. Lancelot, he doesn't. He fears nothing. And then as he's leaving, the king says, a man who fears nothing loves nothing. Just a thought. And he walks away. I was just thought, he's goddamn right. If you don't fear anything, then you don't love anything. Are you not afraid of losing somebody? Are you not afraid of losing yourself? That doesn't mean that you don't go forward anyway. If you're in a battle and you're getting off those amphibious vehicles on D-Day, and they're shooting down at you from the cliffs and you're invading the beach, you don't stay on the boat. You move forward anyway. Yeah, you're terrified. You may be peeing yourself. You may be pooping yourself, literally, as it happens. But you move forward anyway. There's courage. So my point is this. Yes, you're terrified. You're petrified of asking your crush out. But if you don't have the courage to ask them out and to put that to the risk, can they really depend on you to protect them when things really go bad? You're afraid to say words for fear of rejection. How can they possibly count on you to be brave enough to protect them in real life? There's your first test. Do you have the courage to go? And they say, it's confidence. Yeah, fine, but it's confidence because that's your first test of your willingness to protect, to put yourself to the risk. That doesn't mean that if you have that courage that they're going to say yes. But it does mean that they will never say yes if you don't have the courage to try it. Because as much as we try to undo genetics in 2024, as much as we try to undo biology, these things stay, man. These things stay. This is why I say that one of the most dangerous things in the world is useless men. Because useless men find something eventually to do with their time, but they look for a meaning, they look for a purpose, and sometimes you find it in the worst parts of the internet, the darkest recesses of the internet. You find it in Andrew Tate videos or something like that, because you don't know any other way. And if you think that strong men are dangerous, wait till you see what weak men are capable of. Men who are afraid to ask out a crush, do you think those are the same kinds of men who get wrapped up in political movements and just go along with it because they don't have the courage to stand up against it? Probably. So. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms, critiques? Happy Thursday. That didn't go the way I thought it was going to, but neither did the last one. Yeah.